In this video, we will be taking a look at annotation tools in Blender. You can access your annotation tool on the toolbar here. So you can left click to access the tool, and then you have some settings at the top. First, we have our placement. So it's going to place it close to a 3D cursor, but we can change that to align it to our view. And now what happens is that if we make strokes by simply left clicking and holding and then dragging, every time when we rotate our view, you can see it's aligned to our view. And let's go and press Ctrl Z so that we can undo these steps. And if it's set to 3D cursor, what it means is that if we draw these shapes, it's going to be aligned to a 3D cursor. So it's going to sort of stay in that 3D space, as you can see, like that. And I'm going to go ahead and press Ctrl Z. Finally, we have the surface option here. So what it's going to do is that if you draw, it's going to draw on the surface of the objects underneath, like that. And we have some settings like stabilize stroke. So as you're drawing, it's going to sort of try and stabilize your drawing the stroke. Here we have radius. And another way to access these settings is by pressing N button to access the sidebar. And then here under the view tab, down here we have annotations. This can be helpful if you've already sort of drawn stuff. And then you can see that you're going to have this layer. You can double click to rename it. And then you can change the color of your annotation. And it's going to sort of apply to everything on that layer. So if we have another stroke here, and maybe I want to write something like that, and we can create new layers, and then maybe I want to sort of measure something. So it's really good to sort of scrub ideas interactively, and then to delete these, you simply just minus on these layer icons. Now what I like to do is that with my selection tool, if I hold down D button on my keyboard, I can sort of start scrubbing this really quickly. And then to erase, I can simply right click and sort of erase it. So I find it more easier than switching to the annotation tool. You can also left click and hold, and then you have annotate line. So this is going to let you draw straight lines. So hold and drag. And then you have things like annotate polygon. So you can click at one point, click on the next point, and it's going to draw between that. And finally, you have annotate eraser. So you can erase with that. Next, we have these measuring tools. So these measuring tools can be really helpful. I'll go ahead and delete these annotations. So with this measuring tool enabled, you can left click and hold and then drag, and it's going to let you measure between 2 points. I'll go ahead and press Ctrl Z. If you have a cursor over here, you can see we have some keyboard shortcuts. It says drag left mouse button to make the measurements, and then if you hold down X button, if you press X while you have something selected like this ending point, you can left click to select these. You can also left click in this middle area to add more points, but if you have something like this selected, pressing X is going to get rid of that. Same thing for these ending points. And then if you again hover your cursor, you can see that it says if you hold down Control while dragging, it's going to snap it to the surface underneath. So right now when we sort of draw these measurements, you can see it's going to be sort of in this 3D space. But if we hold down Control and then we start drawing, you can see it's going to snap there like that. So this cube is 2 meters. But there's a better way of measuring the distance or size of your objects. You can see that it says if you hold down Shift key while you're sort of dragging, it's going to let you measure, and it's interactive. So you can see as soon as I move my cursor, it sort of tells me the size of my object on that sort of axis. Again, I'm going to hold down left mouse button to start dragging, hold down Shift, and you can see it lets me do that. So this can be really helpful for quickly sort of creating these, and you can sort of create more points and stuff to sort of get some quick measurements. Another way to check the size in things would be to access edit mode. And once you're in the edit mode, up here you'll notice that we have mesh edit mode overlays, and here you have things like measurements, so you can enable edge lengths, so it's going to display length of the edges. You have things like edge angles, you have face area, so it's going to display that. So you can enable those. Again, we have some normal options here as well, but those are not used very often. So that's how you can use some of these tools. Again, to delete these measurements, it's pretty simple. You simply select them and press X button. So you click on the 1 point sort of edge there, and you can sort of get rid of all of these.